Thank you, Mr. Lieutenant Governor and members of the legislature. I want to explain to freshmen in the body and people watching why I'm taking a point of personal privilege. I don't like to use points of personal privilege to speak on matters, especially when they're political or when they're current event type of things. But when you look at the agenda today, we have a motion to adopt the temporary rules. That's a debatable motion. I could have put an amendment on it and done something, but I really didn't want to open that can of worms. I just wanted us to get through the rules and get on to the next thing. But there's nothing else on the agenda that I could put my light on and take 5 minutes on or bring up for debate. And so for that purpose, today I'm making a point of personal privilege. And this isn't something I'm in the habit of, and I don't think that this is like a great best practice, but I wanted to explain why I'm taking the time. I want to talk also about the events that happened yesterday in Washington, D.C., because I'm so grateful that Senator Blood spoke up about this, and all of us should be concerned about this, and somebody needs to say something about this really unprecedented attack on our Capitol, on the building itself, on the institution it represents, and on our democracy. And I don't have any inspirational or soaring or moving things to say about how we're above this and we're going to overcome this and this isn't who we are. But it has to be said because we have to acknowledge the significance for our country of what happened. And I've had many people contact me on social media or over the phone or via email to ask for my thoughts or what's happening. Are we safe here in the Capitol? And I'm sure many of you have gotten similar contacts from your constituents as well. What's happening is a fundamental threat to our democratic system that regular people who aren't elected politicians, who aren't rich, who aren't powerful, depend on so that they don't have their rights crushed. And they depend on the people who are our lawmakers, the people here in our chamber, the people in Washington, D.C., to protect those rights. And it really concerns me when the people who have the power to do something about it kind of roll over and they say, sure, these are just protesters, come on in. We were picking our leadership yesterday in Committee on Committees, and we just start to get little snippets of news coming in about people storming the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And after we adjourned for the day here, I went into Committee on Committees to work on putting people in their committees, and we're kind of sequestered in this room. And we're just getting snippets of information coming in about a woman was shot and killed. Domestic terrorists took over Nancy Pelosi's office and stole things. Personal items belonging to her staff and to the people of this country as trophies. They found bombs. They took over the Senate chamber and took the presiding officer's seat. They took selfies with law enforcement. New York and Virginia sent National Guard troops. And the president openly condoned, encouraged, and supported this from Twitter. How's he going to have the nuclear codes, but he's banned from Twitter? He's banned from Facebook now. But he's the one in charge of our country. How does that sit right with any of you? How do we have the greatest military defense budget in the world, and all these people can just run up on the Capitol and go inside? How do we have state security when something like that can happen? What do we do with that? And how is it these individuals who are acting as domestic terrorists, because that's what they are, how can they get away with this without heavy law enforcement intervention, when throughout the summer in cities, including Omaha, Nebraska, my city, peaceful protesters were tear gassed and had their eyes shot and lost their vision because of rubber bullets fired by police officers for simply marching in the street. You see the images of the people in the Capitol protesting, coming into the chamber, taking things from people's offices, and then after they all leave, you see the Capitol staff cleaning up after them. I have to say that this is something that we all should have known was coming. Our outgoing president blatantly issued the instructions for the insurrection and refused to denounce white supremacy on national television and told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. So what do we do with that? Well, we continue our work as best as we can because we have to, but after yesterday's meeting in our Committee on Committees, I already see that we have to be just as wary in Nebraska of the erosion of our democracy, whether that takes the form of voter ID, or legislation to restrict vote by mail, or protecting our electoral college split in Nebraska. The challenge is before us here too in Nebraska, and it's the flames of division that are just fanned by the promotion of these conspiracy theories and the mistrust of each other. Another thing I think about is the irony of this guy who wanted to be the law and order president and how he's going out this way, with complete lawlessness, with tear gas, with the National Guard having to be called in, with Twitter suspending his account because he won't stop inciting violence. Part of what happened in DC is the responsibility of President Trump for creating the environment and the mood among his supporters to commit this violence. But part of the responsibility is also with the people who spread these stories of the hoaxes and the myths about the validity of the election that continues to be, brought up to this day of, was it a fair election? Yes, it's been proven by every single state that it was fair. The electors are certified. It's all fine. Joe Biden is the president. He's going to be the president. And these are the same people who attacked Barack Obama with the birtherism, saying he was from Kenya or he's Muslim, and the same people who continue to post racist and hateful things on Facebook about the Obama family. And then they come and show up here in our government committee and try to get appointed on boards and committees, on commissions. It's pervasive. It's rooted in years of resentment, and it's not rooted in fact or reality. So who do you think will be held accountable for what happened yesterday? Anyone? Are there going to be consequences of any kind? All I can think of here is if there aren't severe consequences for the people who did this in the Capitol yesterday, and not just for them, but for the officers who aided and abetted them, for the politicians who incited it, we will see this happen every time there's a political outcome that we don't like. I listened carefully to what Speaker Hilger said yesterday about working together and looking past our political differences and actually listening to one another. And he was right to point out the uniqueness of this body and how each of us has a responsibility for maintaining it. In this Nebraska legislature, we're working from a proven foundation. The people who were here before term limits set us up right. They set us up well with a really strong system. We have the transition of power. Yesterday, the work we did on committees. That today, we're able to introduce whatever bills we want on whatever topic we want, and we know that all of them are going to get a hearing. Other states don't have that. So am I optimistic about protecting our elections and democratic institutions in Nebraska? I don't know. I don't think I'm optimistic, but I'm definitely determined. The foundation is there, and it's been laid out by our predecessors for us, and it's incumbent upon all of us now to take it seriously and protect it. What does give me optimism is seeing how Nebraskans are activated, seeing how Nebraskans are watching us, they're watching their city councils, they're watching their school boards, and this is all for them. Nebraskans, this is all for you, what we're doing here. As Benjamin Franklin said, it's a republic if you can keep it. This is our democracy and our institution if we can keep it. And we have to improve it, not just for your party, but for everybody. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator Hunt.